r/AskReddit. What's the best way you've seen someone rebel against school rules? Back in the 1980s there was one kid in my school was hardcore into the punk scene. Had a bright blue, 6 inches high, razor thin, stand up straight mohawk. The principal gave him detention for being a distraction, etc. And his parting words that day were, "And tomorrow, no more blue mohawk." The next day the kid came in with the same mohawk, only bright pink. He should have seen this one coming. Yet, a bright pink mohawk would be pretty difficult to miss. The hawk of the high school is the coolest man to exist. No hats in school. In high school junior year, there was this one kid in my grade that was allowed to due to him having alopecia universalis, which is basically having rapid baldness. A new teacher wasn't aware that he was allowed to and asked him to take it off. The kid explained why he was able to, but the sub didn't believe him. Forced him to take it off, and was being very cruel to him for wearing the hat his lack of hair. The next day, everyone wore hats to school as a sort of rebellion against the teacher. She got really mad and started yelling at the students and said some nasty things. She got fired. Senior year, my school banned jackets. A friend was cold, wore his jacket to lunch, and the VP told him to take it off. Friend pulls out the student handbook and asked where it said he couldn't wear it. VP flips for a while and ends up showing him the comma or anything. The administration seems disruptive clause. Friend rolls his eyes but takes off his coat. The next day, friend comes in with the same tweed sport coat the VP wore every day. Who the hell bans jackets? My school did once. They said it was dangerous if there ever was a fire. How the hell they came to that conclusion I know not. However, the school was really poorly built with concrete walls and next to no heating, so at some times of the year the indoor heat fell below 15°C. The Work Environment Authority recommends an indoor temperature of 20-24°C. We told our teachers to basically either let us wear jackets or fix the heating, otherwise we would report them. They let us wear them. To the Columbine shooting, our school banned black trench coats. For the most part, nobody cared. Except the mysteriously gothic trench coat kid. He had worn a trademark black trench coat every single day because it made him different. And then all of a sudden the school tells him he can't do that anymore. So the kid went out of his way to find or make different colored trench coats and wore those instead. My favorite one was covered in duct tape. TLDR. Gothic Joseph in the Technicolor trench coat. Reminds me of a guy who came to school every day dressed in old-fashioned formal clothing. Suits, top hats, cravats, fake fur coats. I bumped into him the other day and he still dresses like that. I'm glad he does. I was at a private school that had rules about the length of boys' hair. One guy in particular always ignored the rule and the administration would tell him to get a haircut every so often. But he never did. Eventually when his hair got about down to his shoulders, the principal pulled him aside and told him his hair was twice the allowed length and by next week it needed to be shortened by half. Monday rolls around and he comes in with half his head shaved and the other side as long as ever. We were impressed by literal interpretation of the principal's request, but it still ended up with him getting a suspension for a week and he had to shave the other side before he could come back. I went to private school that told me I couldn't have hair past my neck. I loved having long hair so I did it anyway. They told me my hair had to change over the weekend, so I dyed it pink, which was also against the rules. Long story short, I am no longer at that school. Should have tied the hair and made a bun out of it on top of your scalp. Technically it wasn't past your neck. He should have just combed the half over. After 9/11 my school made a rule where we had to wear our school IDs. They went overboard quick, handing out detention to anyone who didn't wear one. One kid had his ID blown up and put on a shirt. On the back it said, "Yes, I'm wearing my ducking ID." He got detention for not wearing it with the shirt. They're bringing back all that ID stuff where I go. Why don't they just tattoo identification numbers on all the inmates? I mean students. We had to do that after Columbine. Some genius decided that they should have our picture, name, year, and full address printed on the front and had to be worn on a neck lanyard at all times. Even when teachers with children at the school complained, the administration didn't want to backtrack. They threatened students who obscured the info with stickers with punishment for vandalism. Then suddenly it all went away. I wouldn't be surprised if the school district lawyer had some concerns. We had to do that too. But then everyone started using them as weapons and whipping the shit out of each other in the hallway or Indiana Jones snapping it at St. Peter's. It lasted less than a year before they took them away. Friend was told in high school by his guidance counselor not to waste his time applying to his dream school because he wouldn't get in. He got pissed off and went to the principal, who told him it was the counselor's job to give her best opinion. So he trusts whatever she says. He applied anyways and got in. He took the acceptance letter, made a copy, and taped them to both the principal and counselor's door with "thanks for nothing" written on both. He didn't even go to that school. He couldn't afford it, but it was the principle of the matter. The "I trust what my counselor say" thing is such a lazy attempt for the principal to essentially say, "I don't want to deal with trouble from my staff, so I won't even address the problem."